Welcome everyone to LinkedIn for Sales. My name is Sue Ellson. I'm an independent LinkedIn specialist, author, educator and practitioner. And this webinar will be going live on my website along with the slides. So I encourage you to write down anything that I mention that's not on the slides, and you'll see that there's quite a lot of content on the slides here. So make sure you make a note of things. Try and look for at least 3 things you can do as a result of attending this webinar so you get maximum value from it. Now, there's heaps of information about me on my sueellson.com website. I'm a member of Golden Key International Honours Society, which is for the top 15% of undergraduates, the Melbourne Press Club, the Career Development Association of Australia, Australian Society of Authors, Writers Victoria, and Educate Plus, which is for advancement professionals in schools, colleges and universities. My first website went online in 2001, newcomersnetwork.com, and I joined LinkedIn on the 21st of December 2003. So I'm member number 77832. I've been consulting on LinkedIn since 2008, and I've written 2 books on the topic of LinkedIn. These are my 5 books here, and you can get them via my website and lots more information online. And feel free to interrupt me at any stage with questions in the chat. Questions, just, say something and I'll listen, and I'm happy to answer questions. Now, on all of my webinars that I run, just for Sue Ellson, I put up the details of my social media, so it keeps me accountable. So if you look at one of my older recordings, you'll see how the numbers have changed over time. And you can see here, obviously, my clear favourite is LinkedIn, because that's where most of my audience is. I also believe it's where you get the most value. The second most valuable place online for me is YouTube, but I do also run TikTok and Pinterest, and I've got newsletters and all the things. So feel free to follow me on any of those as well. Now, LinkedIn for Sales. If you didn't already know, LinkedIn is the world's largest professional networking platform with over 1 billion members in 200 countries. It is absolutely my favorite for attracting opportunities. With my LinkedIn profile and my LinkedIn page, I appear in LinkedIn search results, I appear in online search results, and I also appear in AI results. So on ChatGPT, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini, Claude, Perplexity, Grok, all of those things, because I have so much content online about my topic of LinkedIn, but also because I'm so active on social media as well. So today I'm going to obviously be talking about generating sales for your products and services, and how you can do this without spending money on LinkedIn, and attracting those opportunities, networking, and give you some content ideas as well. If you need to leave the webinar early, please make sure you complete the exit survey so that I can get some more ideas for the next webinar that I run, because I've done lots of them, but I'm always looking for new ideas. So please let me know in that survey what was most helpful to you and what you would like to see in the future. And this recording and these slides will be on my blog later today. So why are you here? Can you please put all the numbers that are relevant to you in the chat? Are you trying to sell products, sell services, sell products and services, sell a brand or something else? I'm also happy for you to network away in the chat and share with other people who are there. I know that I've attracted a number of people who are members or subscribers to the Writers Victoria newsletter. So specific welcome to you if you haven't met me before. I've also run a number of webinars for authors. So the more I know about you and the audience, the more I can tailor the presentation and give you examples. So we've got a number of people with brand, that's interesting, a number with services, products and services, and one with a product only. Okay, so we've got a nice mix of there. Terrific. Thank you for your contributions there. All right, so the next question is, what are you currently using with LinkedIn? Are you just using the LinkedIn free account, the premium account, with just the cheapest option, which is the one I'm using, the careers, or the LinkedIn premium account for business? Are you using LinkedIn Sales Navigator, LinkedIn Recruiter, or other LinkedIn related products? So, some other tools that you might be using with LinkedIn. So we've got premium sales, the free, mostly the free, Products and services. Oh, most of the market is scattered around the world. Yes, Tanya, global mobility is definitely a worldwide thing. And so I focus on attracting clients in Australia, although I do have several international clients that I have on a regular basis as well as randoms. The reason I've chosen to focus on Australia is because it's the same currency, same tax, and I get the culture, but that doesn't prevent me from servicing other clients. So yes, I do regularly attract international clients as well. You can't see the slides if they are showing. Yes, Spiri, they are. I'll stop sharing and then share the screen again and see if we can get it to work for you. Can you see the slides now? 3 and 4. Just let me know if you can see the slides now. Yep, you can. Okay, great. All right. Premium account on occasions. Yes, pop in, pop out. Look, I'm here to say you don't need premium for everything I'm showing you today. I've only had LinkedIn Premium for about the last 3 years because I specialize in LinkedIn. I think it looks pretty mean if I don't have a LinkedIn Premium account. So I have chosen to purchase it and I do use some of the features of it. But everything I'm going to show you today, you can do with the free account. Okay, so this is what I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to make sure you know who your target audience is first. That determines everything you do on LinkedIn. So just a reminder, obviously, if you're going for sales, you've got to know who you are trying to reach. Creating an aligned presence. I'm not going to go into all the details of what I believe you should have on LinkedIn. There's plenty of other webinars I've done on that, so check those out if you wish. And also attracting opportunities via your LinkedIn profile, your LinkedIn page, but essentially setting up a relationship-based regular funnel, because we all know that the best form of marketing is word of mouth. And I'll be going into those details. Using your networking skills to explore your existing network of people that you already know on LinkedIn, then other individuals that you might choose to find, as well as other organizations. And then I'll be touching on your content skills and also any final questions and answers, and remembering to do that evaluation form. Now, obviously, I'm not going to recommend anything that is outside the LinkedIn user agreement. And I do encourage you to click on that link and check it out. Section 8 has the do's and don'ts. So basically, it is saying that you can systemize your processes and follow a sequence, but you cannot automate. So please do not be seduced by somebody saying you can use AI to do this, this, and this. LinkedIn bans it. If they detect that behavior, they can delete or remove access to your account without warning, and I can't help you get it back. If you've breached the rules, nothing I can do to help you with there. So I want to make sure that you are following the rules along the way. And also on the LinkedIn user agreement on the top of the screen, there's the professional community policies. And I also recommend that you check those out because it just gives you some general tips on how to be a nice LinkedIn citizen. Now, what I'm not going to focus on is all of the paid stuff. I know you didn't wake up this morning and say, I want to hand over a blank check to LinkedIn to get sales. So I'm not going to talk about boosting posts or boosting events. By the way, I've done both and I got 0 results out of them. So that's another reason not to do it. I'm not going to talk about Sales Navigator. I'm going to give you an alternative, which is Google Advanced Search for you to find people. I'm not going to talk about LinkedIn Recruiter or ad accounts, campaigns, or business managers. And I'm also going to remind you that LinkedIn is like a goose that lays golden eggs. Now, we don't want to shoot the goose because that is when you go on LinkedIn and you find someone and you try and connect and pitch. Connect with them first and then sell them something. Everybody hates it. I'm sure you've all got stories of people who've sent you unsolicited messages that you don't like. So I do not recommend that, and I don't want you to spam. Now, I have met a number of people who want to throw money at LinkedIn and just make LinkedIn do it. Now, did you wake up this morning, open your LinkedIn account and say, I'm going to scroll through the newsfeed looking for ads? Probably not. Did you open LinkedIn and look on the right-hand side of your screen and see an ad? Probably not. Did you receive a message in your messages that was completely unrelated but was sponsored anyway? And of course, again, of no benefit to you. So this is why I am not going to talk about the paid options. Most of us are here in Australia, and for that reason, the other issue that we have with ads is that you have to have an audience size of at least 300 people. And because so many people don't fill in their LinkedIn profile properly, it basically means you're not going to reach that audience size anyway. And then if your target audience is not on LinkedIn on a regular basis, doesn't matter how much you pay for the ads, they're not going to see it. So again, these are all reasons why I don't use that as a methodology. And feel free to dispute it. If you've had ads campaigns and it's been tremendously successful for you, please let me know. I'd love to hear about it. But so far, nobody I know who spent money on it has done it. And it was quite ironic because I was working with somebody who's very well known to me, who secretly went off and spent $200 on a LinkedIn ad very recently and got 279,000 impressions of their post, and of course, zero results. So yeah, what's the point of spending $200? It doesn't matter how many results you get. If you're not getting a sale or a lead, then there was no point spending that money. And as a former banker, I don't want you wasting your money. So this is the methodology that I use. I have created an aligned presence online, and I'm constantly building my network. I'm constantly engaging with the platform and publishing on a regular basis so that when someone is ready, they find me. So if they were doing an online search, they'll find me and they can verify me, or they've met me and they remember me, or I've approached them directly, or my clients have, and it's been in an aligned way. Then what happens is that person checks me out and verifies me to decide whether I'm honest or not, and they make a purchase. And then if, obviously after they've made a purchase, I've definitely connected with them then online, and they maintain a relationship with me. And lots of my clients that tell me, Sue, I've told all these people about you, but nothing's happened. And I've not heard from them. And I get it. People are not always ready to update LinkedIn. I think they do offer free advertising occasionally. Is that worth doing? Great question, Hugh. They do offer free LinkedIn Premium for 1 month. And if you go down that path, what will happen is they will get your credit card and they will keep charging you at the end of the month unless you cancel it. So just be warned of that. And also, normally, some of those free advertising, they usually say, we'll give you $600 of free advertising if you spend $600, so it's not really free. It's a very clever marketing technique. Now, one of the people I worked with was really interesting. In fact, I worked with them once. It was so successful, I never heard from them again. But they were a software as a service provider, and their software was risk management for local government councils. And so what they did is they connected with all the people who make that buying decision in councils all over Australia. In fact, they nearly invited too many people too quickly because they were warned by LinkedIn that they were inviting too many people. So that's why they contacted me. So I said, look, you can do that. You can reach out to those government employees, but you need to be nice about it and you don't want to sell to them. And then I said, okay, so before you message those people, because they ended up, I don't know with how many, but a lot of council employees. And before they sent out their sales message, they sent it to me. Thank goodness they did, because if a council employee read that message, they would have deleted, blocked, reported, you name it. It would have been good. So I changed that message for them, and then they messaged these people individually. And this is a product that's worth thousands of dollars per year, because it's software as a service, you've got to keep paying for it. And would you believe that one message they sent those individual employees and councils achieved a 40% conversion rate? So if you do this right and you build the relationship and then you send an appropriate message, you've got the chance of achieving a 40% conversion rate as well. And that makes it all worth the time and effort. So step one, you've obviously got to define your target audience. So in that case, they defined it as the council employee. And when I was working with another small business recently, we actually created 4 avatars and we gave them names. So there was, I don't know, Mary, Joan, Bob and Bill. Well, it doesn't matter what the names are, but we gave a description of these types of people, what they were doing, what they'd be interested in, their age range, their education level, their salary level, and all the content that this business is going to be created is going to suit those 4 different types. So what we did is we produced 12 weeks of content around those 4 avatars, and we produced 3 pieces of content for each avatar. So it would match up with the people who would be likely to use their services. So yeah, it can work really, really well. And then you've got to think about what words would that person type into a search query to find your products or services. So one of my students was creating a website for the Northcote Music School, and they thought that everybody would search for Northcote Music School to find their business. But of course, if I'm looking to learn the piano, I'm not going to be searching for Northcote Music School. I'm going to be searching for piano lessons, piano teacher, piano classes, something along those lines. So you've got to remember, what are the words that people who need your products and services are going to be searching for? That could be your name, it could be your business name, it could be the name of your book, any number of these things. You've got to have that list all good to go. And at the end of the day, word of mouth is still the best place to start any business. What is the definition of a business? Somebody who pays you for your products or services. So you don't have to have a website. You don't have to have all these things. So long as you've got somebody willing to pay for what you've got to offer, that is a business. But if you do have a business and somebody is checking you out online, they've heard from their best friend that you are the best architect there is, the first thing they're going to do is Google you and find out, well, does everybody else agree that this person is a good architect? So they need to find your details online. They need to verify the story that they've been told. They need to see online reviews, and on LinkedIn, you need to have votes for your skills and some good recommendations. You need to be reasonably active so they can see what you've been doing lately, and the content needs to be aligned. Now, I've been on various podcasts, and there's a podcast host that puts out content completely unrelated, which is very political, and unfortunately it detracts from their main message. So I can understand if you've got political reasons, have them, but don't put them out on the same brand as your business. It confuses people and it confuses the algorithms. Now, also, if they are going to come and see you, you've got to make it easy for them to purchase. So what's your main message? Can they self-select? Can they purchase it very easily? And can they contact you if they need to? So obviously you want to make sure that your message is really clear. So back in the day on LinkedIn, because I was helping people who are new to Melbourne, I had all these people from foreign countries message me, say, basically, can you pick me up at the airport, give me a job, and I want it for free. And I'm thinking, hang on a minute, you don't want to work as a mechanical engineer for free, and you've paid for a visa to get here, and now you want me to do everything for free? This is, not reasonable, and I'm not funded by some organisation to do those services for you. So what I did is I changed my LinkedIn profile around and made it really clear I offer professional services, and then all of a sudden those annoying requests just stopped, and nobody asked me to do everything for free ever again. So, that was super cool. All right, so the next step is to create an aligned presence. Now, all of your digital assets, not just your LinkedIn profile, but anything about you online needs to be consistent. And if you want to have a verified LinkedIn profile, I do not recommend you go down the path of scanning your passport. That's just not necessary. What people can do, and I'll quickly show you this, is they can visit your LinkedIn profile and they can click on either the resources or the about button and choose about this profile, and they can see when you joined. So there's no need. If I've been on here since December 2003, do you believe that I'm who I say I am? There's a pretty good chance of that. So we don't have to be verified. But if you do want to be verified, please make sure you've added all your email addresses to your account. And then hopefully at some point LinkedIn will assume that that's, a good verification process and you are good to go. So yeah, just keep that in mind. And the algorithm is just a dumb computer. So if you talk to 16 different topics, it doesn't know what you're about. So most of my content is related to LinkedIn, careers, business, or alternatively my poems. I do put my poems on there, but they're inspiring. They're not, on some random content, which is, like they're not about cars, for instance, some completely different topic. So to be a good LinkedIn citizen, you want to be listening more than you speak. So you don't want to just post and ghost. You want to make sure that you're engaging with the stuff that is you see in your newsfeed, particularly from your VIPs, the people who send you lots of stuff. And if you go to the LinkedIn dashboard, you will see, so if we go back to our analytics, so here under analytics on my profile, it goes to linkedin.com dashboard, and LinkedIn is now monitoring our behavior. So this week I've been a very good LinkedIn citizen. I've sent out 2 posts and I've added 10 comments. So LinkedIn loves me because, I've been a good little citizen on the platform. So that helps the algorithm says, well, she's not just speaking all the time, she's listening. I do post consistently. So if you're not comfortable with that, if you can at least do it once a month, that's the goal. I have found more than twice a week doesn't help. But LinkedIn says, they've actually said this, they want us to post 2 to 3 times a day. I don't know about you, but I do not want to spend that much time on social media. And if I posted 2 to 3 times a day, my first 2 posts to be killed off by the time I get to my 3rd post. So I'd just be, wasting a lot of time. And if people saw me that often, they'd think I was a megalomaniac and they'd unfollow me because they just see too much stuff from me. So I definitely don't want to do that. So I go for about twice a week and I focus on Monday with a piece of general content and Thursday with a video content. And that's it. Although this week I was at the Career Expo and I'm doing this webinar and I was in the newspaper. I've had lots of stuff to share this week. So it might be slightly more than that this week, but I would never do it, multiple times in the one day. I make sure that I respond promptly to any messages or notifications. I play nice. I don't spam anyone, but I take no prisoners. And if somebody's terrible, I do report them immediately. I don't want those people killing off our golden goose. I show up consistently and regularly in a friendly and professional way. I know that a lot of people like to be personal on social media, but I'm not. I'm always friendly and professional. But if you meet me in person, then, obviously I can be a little bit more social. Support the other LinkedIn citizens. People like it when you like their stuff. So why not do that? And make sure you support your main referrers. I call them your VIPs by clicking the notification bell and choosing all new posts. And that way you're more likely to see their content in your newsfeed. And you can also do that for companies as well. So yeah, that's your aligned presence. So now, once you've
Excuse me, Sue, can I ask a question, please?
please do.
Um, I have a LinkedIn account that I've had for a long time for
Yep.
a long professional career, and I'm one of those people from Writers Victoria, I'm now retired and writing a novel. So looking
Great.
to use social media, which other than a LinkedIn profile, I don't use social media. So I'm trying to work out how to do that.
Yep.
Um, so all of my contacts on social media are all very well aligned with me in my professional career, which is nothing to do with my novel.
Yep.
And I'm wondering about a sudden switch to change from being a medical practitioner to being an author, um, and whether some of this, the posts and things, whether all my professional contacts are going to go, I don't want to know about a novel. I'm here because of my professional interests.
Do you read
Interested
novels?
in your thought about that. Well, yeah, oh, yes,
Of
prolifically.
course.
But
And let
would
people
they,
know
if they're
that.
on LinkedIn for a professional reason, are they going to mind if you start talking about stuff that's not professional?
No, and I would love to see more creatives on LinkedIn. I think it's too late in the day that the creatives are becoming more visible on LinkedIn. So I I'm constantly trying to encourage them. Now, there's been a significant influx in people on LinkedIn who were formerly on Twitter and X because they've all decided they really didn't like the path that took and they've all come over. So there's a lot more people coming on to LinkedIn. The majority of the people are in the 25 to 34, like the biggest percentage. And I don't see anything wrong with you sharing your books. And that's why I share my poetry, because obviously that's not related to LinkedIn. It's just, a little bit of motivation and stuff like that. So no issue at all. Also, if you're a novelist and I love your work, I kind of want to know the backstory. I want to know that, this wasn't just some random person who worked in something completely unrelated. If you're bringing that medical perspective and critical thinking and analysis skills into your writing, I think it would be fascinating to read about that. And I think a lot of people who knew you and liked you in your previous role would say, that sounds amazing, and I'd love to read about their book. So see no issue with it at all. But if your book is a particular genre for a particular type of person, from now on, you would extend your network out into those people. And you can have up to 30,000 people there. Yeah.
Thank you.
Situation's the same. Post from her point of view rather than mentioning the books. Yeah, Jennifer, look at Jennifer Lancaster's content. She does amazing work in this area for authors. So definitely follow her online. She's in the chat there. And Hugh says, should I start posting or build my network first? I'm always building my network, Hugh. Like, it never ever stops. So I don't want you to put off posting until you've built your network. Like, obviously, most publishers will tell you don't write a book until you've got an audience. So obviously, building that network is important. But I wouldn't suggest you wait forever, because you need to have a back catalogue of stuff. And it's just like, I'm an author, I've written 5 books, and I don't expect to be making money out of my books until I've written 10. And then people might go and look at my back catalogue at some later point. I've done it for multiple other reasons.
Thanks, Sue. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome, Hugh. Following more novelist writers. Yes, absolutely, Sperry. That's another great tip. So thank you for sharing that as well. So once you find other authors who write in a similar genre, see if you can find them on LinkedIn. But authors are notorious for having very poor LinkedIn profiles. So just be warned, finding them could be a bit of a trick as well. Yeah. Okay, so attracting opportunities via your LinkedIn profile. Obviously, I recommend that you complete all the sections you possibly can. My LinkedIn profile is complete apart from patents, because I don't have a patent, and I haven't mentioned career break, but I've used all the other sections. So it's not like the plumber's plumbing. If you want to see how it's done, check out my LinkedIn profile. I would suggest you also set some goals around having at least 500 connections and making sure you've got 100 or more views per 90 days. So again, off that analytics, you want to get those kind of results. Otherwise, you can tell your LinkedIn profile is not working for you and there's some work to do on it. You want to get at least 20 endorsements for your top skills, 6 or more recommendations, both given and received, with an aligned photo, banner background, which can't be advertising. I have got my books in there, but I haven't sent 20% off if you purchase before, 31st of July. I haven't done that. And also your featured section, which is on your personal profile, you can put in something a bit more interesting in there. LinkedIn is also a skills-based platform. So if you're trying to push your services, you definitely want to list your skills in the about section, the experience section, education section, licenses and certifications, and projects. There's multiple sections where you can nominate your skills. And my 3 favorite words are not I love you, they are from now on. And I say that to hopefully make you remember it. From now on, I want you to connect with absolutely everyone you meet. So if you want to copy the chat and reach out to those people, do screenshots, whatever, all good. Reach out to people and invite them to connect with you, and people in your industry and profession as well. So a little story here is a lady came to one of my courses at the Centre for Adult Education on how to create a website. Her website had already been created and it wasn't even in WordPress. And would you believe she had spent $20,000 getting a brochure website built? And all she wanted to do, because she'd had a career in a university, was edit PhDs. Now, all she had to do was update her LinkedIn profile and search for people on LinkedIn who say that they are studying a PhD. And let me assure you, everybody studying a PhD is promoting the fact that they are studying a PhD. So it would have been very easy for her to find those people on LinkedIn, connect with them, and let them know that that's the service she offers. And she didn't need a $20,000 website. And my goodness, how many PhDs does she have to edit before she's made $20,000 profit? Annie has mentioned, what do you recommend about accepting invitations from people you haven't met before? Yes, you are right, Annie. You have to have a strategy. And basically, I say anyone in Australia, provided I don't think they're going to sell me from the moment I connect, I say yes to. And then everybody else internationally, we have to have something in common for me to accept the connection request. So that's my policy. But as soon as they're a nuisance, I delete them from my connections. So I'm a take no prisoners kind of girl. Don't waste my time. All right. So how can you attract opportunities via your LinkedIn page? So I have a Sue Ellson personal profile and I have a Sue Ellson company page. So I'm working at Sue Ellson. So I've got a LinkedIn company page. If you've got a business, you would have a LinkedIn company page as well. So again, make sure it's fully completed. Make sure you've got around 500 or more followers, because if I visit a company page and it's got 16 followers, I'm going to think, well, these people not really that busy or popular or anything. So aim to get 500 followers. And when you've got a company page, you can invite your connections to follow you. Get 250 credits a month. I'll just quickly show you that because I think that's a really important feature. So I go over here to my company page, and on the bottom of the screen here, it says invite to follow. And so I can just scroll down here and let me see who would be relevant. Oh, Bill knows me. I'll invite him to follow. And I can just, go through and invite people to follow my company page. So very easy to do so that you can get up to your 500 followers on your company page. Make sure you're posting regularly there. So a lot of people realize that their content does much better if they post as a person than if they post as a company page. But I say put it on both. And particularly if you're the CEO of an organization, it would definitely go further if you post it as a person, but don't forget to still post it on the company page. If you've got more than 150 followers on either your profile or your page, you can create a LinkedIn newsletter. And from then on, every time somebody connects or follows you, they will be invited to subscribe to your newsletter. So this is a really great way to build your audience automatically. So I have an email newsletter that I put on my website. I publish it via MailChimp. I publish it on my LinkedIn profile and I publish on my LinkedIn page. So I've now got 9,000 subscribers on all of those combined. So it gets my thing out. And what I love is it doesn't annoy people with an email in their inbox. It just sends them a little notification, Sue's published a newsletter, but it's exactly the same content that goes out via email. And this was a LinkedIn event. When you put a LinkedIn event online, don't put paid events online because nobody registers even if you send them a message. Only put free events on, and put it on at least 4 weeks before the event, because you can invite 1,000 of your connections per week to that event. So that's another great way. If you've got a book launch or something like that, make sure you pop it online and invite people to come. I'm going to pause on the questions because I'm really conscious of finishing by 1:45, but I will come back to all the questions. So if you can hang around past 1:45, I'll make sure all the questions are answered. You can also create, as I said before, a LinkedIn page in your own name. And if you're a service provider or author, I definitely encourage you not just to have LinkedIn, but to create your own name. Now, I joined LinkedIn in 2003. I created sueelson.com in 2012. So it only took me 9 years to get around to it, but I definitely recommend it. It's been a much better place for me to publish whatever I want, whenever I like, in any format I want. So I definitely encourage you to at least purchase your own name website URL, even if you don't publish there straight away. And my Sue Ellson company page also appears in lots of search results. So it's been really helpful for me to have not just a profile, but a LinkedIn company page as well. Now, my whole methodology for running a business, and the caveat I have here is there's only me to support financially. I've chosen not to have employees and multiple overheads and all that kind of thing. But this is the strategy I also recommend for all of my clients because we want to build relationships with people. That's the way we get repeat business and we get referrals and we can service our clients much more often because we have a relationship with them. So as I said before, from now on, connect with everyone you meet online or offline and selectively connect with aligned people. So be really focused on your target audience, your 4 avatars, and reach out to those. Keep your engagement ratio consistent. So not post and ghost, but engaging as much as you post, and always be solution focused. Even if somebody says something a bit icky on my comments, I will always respond with a solution. I won't say, what do you mean, or be negative backwards. I always focus on solutions. I put out my newsletter once a month. I put content out twice a week, and I do a mix of different formats, although LinkedIn has said they like short form portrait video content, and that gets double the exposure that the normal content gets. So definitely consider video. Mind you, I put that off for at least 5 years as well. So, I know not everybody's comfortable with putting themselves on camera. If new trends appear, LinkedIn tends to promote them. So when LinkedIn events came out, oh my goodness, they were a gold mine. They were absolutely incredible. Now their effectiveness has waned. So keep these, shiny objects in mind, but don't get distracted by those shiny objects, because I ran monthly events from October 21 till December 2024, but the value of them was decreasing so much, I had to stop and then reevaluate my strategy. So always stay true to purpose. 10 hours a month compared to 1 hour a week, which is 4 hours a month, is a much better way for me to use my time. So I've had to adapt. Make sure you reply to notifications and messages as soon as possible. And if you want to work for particular companies, make sure you click the notification bell, follow them and click the notification bell for all new posts. And that direct outreach after a relationship has been created, like that council story, is important. So a lot of people tell me, Sue, I first connected with you 8 years ago and now I'd like some LinkedIn help. And I'm thinking, 8 years to build a relationship, not 8 exchanges, 8 years, but I'm still here and I'm still doing it. So I get the work. So that's a really good thing. And also, there was a person who contacted me from Los Angeles, and would you believe she had 60,000 followers on Instagram for her fabulous decluttering service and no business, because everybody who was following her on Instagram wanted the free tips but didn't want to pay for her decluttering services. But if she went to local real estate agents in LA who specialised in luxury accommodation and developed a relationship with them, I am absolutely certain there would have been heaps of decluttering work she could have got as a referral from the local real estate agent. And that's what she did. And I never heard from her again either, because it works. And, it's relationship driven. Now, your networking skills. The first people you should reach out to if you're going to network is your existing network. And so I'll quickly show you how to do this. What you can do is you can go into LinkedIn. Oh, come on, LinkedIn. Come on, mouse. Here we go. So you go into settings and privacy from your Me menu, and you go over to the left and you choose data privacy, and you choose get a copy of your data. You tick the top box and you request it. Now, what LinkedIn will do is they'll prepare your archive and they'll send you an email with a link. As soon as you get that email, you click on the link and download the files. And it will give you a list of all of your connections, first name, last name, current job, current company, and date you connected with everyone. So that means you can go through that list and you can match it up to your CRM, your customer relationship management system, and make sure everyone on LinkedIn is in your CRM and everyone in your CRM is in LinkedIn, like you want to join the two dots. But you might also remember, oh my goodness, I remember working with Roger at XYZ company. There would be all these other people that Roger knows I'd like to connect with. And there's also all these other people at XYZ company that I can connect to. So it's a really great way to sort of trigger the memory vault and think about who else you might know. And also, it gives you your stats, so you can keep a number and you can think about who else you might be able to reach out to. So I say in today's world, it's not what you know or who you know, it's who, as in a person, or what technology finds you, and then how you can be verified. So reconnecting with some of those people in your existing network is a great place to start. And the next one is, from now on, all these other individuals you could reach out to. So every time I go to a networking event or I go to an in-person event, I aim to use the scan code feature on my mobile phone. So I open the LinkedIn app, I press on search and I press the dots, and then my little QR code comes up and I connect with at least 3 people every time I go to an in-person event. And if you are really keen to get sales, I would suggest you set a target of connecting with 50 people per week. And the different places you can go to a professional association, an industry association. Look at the people here like Jennifer Lancaster. If you're an author, follow her. People who've engaged with content on someone's profile or on someone's company page, or they've engaged with specific content around a topic that you're interested in, or you follow a hashtag, or you can do a Google advanced search, which replaces LinkedIn Sales Navigator. People who can refer to you. So my daughter's recently started up a new business and she has lots of suppliers who, could refer clients to her. So she's gone out and reached out to all the suppliers and any other people who meet your criteria. And then as you create this new network, you have a little spreadsheet and you put the date you reached out, the first name, the last name, and the LinkedIn URL for that person. And step 1, send them an invitation to connect. Step 2, say thanks for connecting. Step 3, send them something of value. Step 4, do something else. And if you nurture that relationship with the very specific targeted people who would be interested in your products and services, then you can lead to sales. This is particularly good for high ticket items. So I wanted to show you the Google Advanced Search screen. So you just go to Google Advanced Search, and any words that would be written on the person's LinkedIn profile, you put them in quotation marks and choose and then choose the website LinkedIn, and it enables you to find as many people as you want. So I'll just show you that. Google Advanced Search. I do it so often, my internet browser knows me. So let's say I was looking for a crime author and Melbourne, and maybe the word writer as well. And I go down here to linkedin.com and I choose advanced search. And now I see all these people. Oh, and podcasters too. That'd be great. So what I can do is I can right click, open in a new tab for all of these people. Anyone I thought was interesting. And then what I would do is I would visit and decide, is this person somebody I'd like to reach out to? Look at their profile, whatever. If yes, I would connect and send a little message. And if not, I would just close the tab and move on to the next one. And away we go. So it's a really great way to find people at scale, and it doesn't cost you anything, and you can have an unlimited number of searches. So really, really helpful to you. Now, the next one is organisations you might want to reach out to. So anyone that you have an existing relationship with. So your employer, your education provider. So my daughter started studying at Monash University, did 3 subjects. So she's part of the alumni there. Then she went to La Trobe, did a full degree. So she's part of an alumni there. So you can look at the alumni of different organisations as well. Or you might be a member or a non-paying member of a professional association, like the industry, but you're not paying, you can still look at the content from that organisation. You can curate your newsfeed again, and you could also target any local organisations. So let's say you're a builder and you connect with all the building supply companies in that local area because you want them to know that you do building. You could look at all Australia-wide or domestically, and you can also look at internationally. So if you're a crime author and there's lots of famous crime authors in London, you could connect to those, and then they say, oh, an Australian author who does crime, how exciting is that? And then you might get referrals from those international organisations or people. Look for specific people in the organisations as well, not just the CEO, because quite often they leave and don't know what's going on. But one of my clients works with schools, and the person who makes the buying decision in the schools is the business administrator. So we don't connect with the principal of the school, we connect with the business administrator of the school because they're going to make the buying decision. Look for the other suppliers and stakeholders, support the professional associations, the regulators, and the government entities that override it. And if you're really going to be building relationships, you can add their company page to your internet browser bookmarks, and then you can just visit those pages every so often and remind yourself to engage with their content. Now we're nearly there, folks. Content, and this is where people think most of the sales come from, but I think it's the least place for getting content. But obviously I've got to publish content to remind people that I exist, and I stick to my content topics, including what I comment on. So I've had some clients who are in completely unrelated fields and they ask me to share their posts. Well, I can't do that. I can react and add a comment to it, but I can't share it because the algorithm will get confused about what I'm talking about. I maintain my content consistency, and now that I'm doing a video every Thursday, rain, hail or shine, even if it's 11:59 p.m. at night, I'm putting out a video every Thursday. That's made a significant difference to my inquiries, so that's been really good. Any content needs to be scroll stopping. So LinkedIn is measuring, do people stop and look at this? And if they do, it's more likely to go viral. I definitely avoid AI content. People can read it and tell that it's AI and they don't like it. So make sure it's sort of unique and memorable. It's got a bit of your own flavour in it. You can use some level of humour, but I'm a bit risk averse to humour because I've worked with so many people from different cultural backgrounds. I'm anxious that it might offend someone from a different culture. So I avoid humour, but some people, that's their shtick. So, go for it if it's your thing. And I also make sure that every time I post, there's enough information in the post that people get their dopamine fix just from the post. They don't have to click on an external link to get it. And I really hate how on TikTok, the video now is something, but if you want the answer, you've got to read the comments. It really annoys me. So, I just make sure that anything I produce is a nice little snapshot immediately and gives people that proper full dopamine hit of something useful. It's really what I'm about. You can mention organisations or individuals, but don't spam tag, and do too many. And you can have hashtags. I put hashtag Sue Ellson on everything I do, so people can click the hashtag and see what else I've done. Make sure it's on brand and it helps recall. When I film my videos, if I've got a hair hanging over my glasses, but the rest of it's perfect, I publish anyway. Like I don't re-record just because the hair was out of place. 80% is good enough. So not too polished or sterile. And if you put faces in your content, we're all biologically programmed to identify a face and then try and work out if it's someone we know. So that's a really good way to attract attention to your content, or it could be your book cover in all your content, something like that. Or if you're having a photo at an event, make sure you've got a banner or a sign in the background so people know where you are, so that they understand the meaning. Get the image to try and tell the whole story. And viral does not equal sales. So one of my videos, I'm in communication with the LinkedIn editors, and I told them I just put out a video and they let the LinkedIn video editors know. And would you believe it got nearly 5 million impressions? I got 0 inquiries and 200 followers from random countries. So even going viral does not mean it's going to generate sales. So please just stick to your message and your target audience and meeting their needs. Don't try and game the system and get something to go viral. It doesn't necessarily lead to sales. So just keep that in mind. So any questions? Most welcome to answer those. I'll go through the ones in the chat first. If you need to go because it's 12:50, please make sure you complete the survey. And I would also encourage you to consider writing a review if you have found this free webinar helpful, because I've held nothing back. I've told you exactly what I do. And I also welcome comments in the chat. So I will go back to the first comments in the chat. Whoops, sorry, I'll leave that one up while I go to the chat and look at these questions. Taken the free trial of a company page, but it hasn't been all that useful except for service related around the world. Do you suggest this plan? No, I don't, Jennifer. The company page just doesn't have the reach that the personal profile does. And you would need to be very active and have engaged followers as well, in my view, if you were going to go down that path. That's not to say don't update your LinkedIn company page. Absolutely do it and share everything on the LinkedIn company page. I love having a LinkedIn company page because if people do go to that in search results instead of my profile, there's a full history of everything I've done in the one spot, which I really love. So that's another benefit of the company page and well worth doing. Deleted my company page. I just kept my personal page. It took too much time. Okay, well, I don't see it as taking a lot of time if I copy paste what I did on my personal profile and put the same thing on my LinkedIn company page, because very few people engage with it. So I haven't found that it takes a lot of time. So I'd still do it. Hugh, thank you. Yeah, needing to go now. Thank you, Spiri. Thanks for joining us. All right, so I'll just open up to general thoughts, comments, questions, as you wish. Yes, you can raise your hand, you can unmute, pop a question in the chat, add a comment. Hello, George, nice to see you from my School of Philosophy class. Any other questions? Either that or I've bamboozled you with loads of homework that you're too scared to ask a question. When you do want to hard sell, what is the best way to do it? Well, thank you, Annie. You've got to time it right? So that story where I said about the 40% success rate with the council, you have to have created a relationship with the person first. If you connect and pitch, most people are just going to say, no, thanks. But if you connect and really provide value-added services, then you can say, you know, hi, Mary, I noticed you've been engaging with my content, or Annie, what do you do? Can you tell us that so I can make it more relevant? Comedian. Okay. Wow. Oh, all right. Well, this is a tricky one. All right. So let's say you've got to pick something you're trying to promote. Like, I can't be Sue everything. I have to be Sue LinkedIn specialist who does a whole bunch of other stuff, right? Because otherwise people forget what I do. So I've decided to name myself a LinkedIn specialist. So let's say you were using LinkedIn to get celebrant services. I'll just pick one because I'm presuming there'll be more of a general population who'll pay for a celebrant. So I would suggest that you would be pitching yourself to venues, and you would be pitching yourself to people who provide funerals, or, you know, all those kind of services where a celebrant might be needed. And after you've connected with them, you would need to make sure that you've investigated the nature of their business very, very clearly, and then make sure any pitch you make to them is related to their needs. So let's say you were going to be a comedian at a funeral parlor, like sounds odd, I know, but a lot of people want something funny rather than something sad for a funeral, and they think it's a celebration of life. Well, I'd make sure that when you send the direct message, you might include either a little voice memo as well of your voice so people have a sense of that, or even a little short video. And so people could get a really quick example of what it would look like if you were a celebrant at a funeral service. So they really get to be able to make that really quick assessment. And then, of course, making sure that your contact details are clearly visible. And that's really important. So thank you, Liz, for that comment. Great, easy to take steps. So that's good. All right. So let's just go into LinkedIn again. So when you send a message to someone, whoops, I think I might have dropped out. Let's make sure I'm sharing the screen. All right, so if I go to send a message, so here's Flora, she met me at the Careers Expo. So what I can do is I can attach, a file here. So that could be the video or a document or a GIF or an emoji. But if I'm on my mobile phone, I can also attach a voice memo. And then, that would be a really great way to save it. But it has to be targeted. If you're going to do a hard sell, you've got to target it. But in terms of contact information, I've got my contact information everywhere. So if you click contact info, you'll see my phone number and email address is visible. So I make sure that's visible. You'll also see in the about section, I've written it here. So people don't even have to click to be able to find my contact details. And I've been on the interwebs, forever. If you're really famous, then you just provide a link to an online form, okay, if you want to distill the queries. And then if you go down to my current job and you click in see more, I've got my contact details there as well. So, no matter where you are, my contact details are there so that people can reach out. So make sure that's also visible as well. Most of my contacts are colleagues to be in touch with the industry. Now I have what should I do? Okay, well, George, you really need to think about who would buy your services and find them on LinkedIn. And so that's the Google Advanced Search, and say, I'm going to set a target of 50 people a week I'm going to connect with, or, invite to connect, 10 a day, 5 days a week, and then build up the relationship over time, and really think very, very carefully, who are the people who would buy my services? That's the people you really want to reach out to. Now, you can be a little bit tricky, and you could visit a competitor and see who they're connected to. And that's another way to sort of source some people, but it would also be around the topics. So for instance, now you're an architect, so I'll just put architect in the search and I'll look at posts, right? And what I'll do is I'll look, is this somebody, I'm going to choose all filters, and can we choose location in here? We can't. All right, let's just say content produced in the past month. We'll show that. And why should an architect design your home? Now, let's assume this person was in Melbourne, right? I would look at who has engaged with this post. I'd click on that, because these are people who are active on LinkedIn. And then I would right click, open in a new tab for all of these people, and then decide yay or nay, would I like to connect with these? So that's one way based on content if you weren't using that Google Advanced Search. But these would be people sort of related. Or if this Joshua was based in Melbourne, and I was able to see their connections or who had engaged with their other content, then again, they would be potential people that might be interested in seeing what I do as well. But you need to be a little bit careful about that. You don't want to be seen to be poaching people. You just want to be looking for people, who might be able to provide referrals to you. So that would be the thing there. All right. Thank you for the advice. I'm not a LinkedIn novice. I have 1,600 plus connections, 100 struggle to actually do something with my reach. Appreciate your practical tips. Thank you, Tanya. Much appreciated. Any other final voice questions anybody would like to ask, or topics they'd like me to cover in future sessions? Or comments on what was most helpful from today? I'd love to hear from you, Jennifer, seeing you're already across most of this.
Yeah, thank you. All awesome content today.
Thank you.
I wouldn't say I'm across most of it. Yeah, like anybody, struggle except for the content part. I understand that part.
Yeah.
But the advanced search I found very helpful. Yeah, because I've been using LinkedIn search quite a lot. Uh,
Yes.
Sometimes they limit me. I'm just searching so much. So yeah, that's a great way to find something in your keywords. That would be good. And also the app mention I never use enough. Even where I've been to an event, I forget to app mention the council or whatever it is. So yeah, I should do that.
Yeah.
Take more
And the good
photos.
thing is, if you app mention someone and they engage with your post, LinkedIn will make the post go further. So don't app
Mhm.
mention someone you know will never engage.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
if you mention me and say I went to this webinar, if you mention me, I will absolutely comment every time. Like I really keep a close
That's
eye.
a good point that you make. Yeah.
Hmm. Thank you, Jennifer.
No worries.
Any other questions or comments? Nice to see you too, Vincent. I can see there. I haven't seen you for a while in person, but nice to see you online.
Yeah, so yeah, just coming back to attend some classes, try to update my skills in LinkedIn. So it's
Good.
really good, really good. Yeah, hasn't been really active, but learning new skills every day. Thanks so much for the information.
You're welcome. Yeah, it was rushed together this morning because I've been so frantically busy. But what I do is I try and tune in to the audience around this topic, like what do you want to know related to this? And then I just, pull out stuff. And I always go to Microsoft Copilot now before I run a webinar. And I look for the answers that they provide. I'm running a webinar, da 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 da. And they're terrible. They never give me the answers that would actually add value to clients. So this is the value of lived experience. So yes, we can use tech to get some general concepts if we want, but so far, every time I've run it, I've never got anything that was close to what I actually recommend based on lived experience. So it's really interesting.
Would you be interested to do those nowadays? A lot of AI agents, to clone yourself.
Interestingly, Vincent, I did in relation to my poetry. Because I've published over 150 poems, I asked it to evaluate my poems and give me some suggestions on what I could do to improve. And I heard all the stock standard answers, read other people's work, da 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 da, emulate this, which is exactly everything I'd heard, from every webinar I've ever attended run by a writers group, right? So I thought, well, that's pretty demoralizing. I'm hearing the same old crap. So then I asked the AI, well, what's good about my poems? And it said all the same things, and I thought, oh my goodness. So did it really evaluate my poems or not? It was very hard to tell. So then the third thing I did was I said, all right, what is my poetry? Which poets are my poems most like? And it gave me things like Emily Dickinson, which is great because it is very similar to Emily Dickinson. So it got that right. And then I said, and which songwriters is it most like? And it came up with Taylor Swift amongst others. And I thought, yeah, that's right. And so it did when I gave it a different type of query, it was able to analyze it. But when I gave it a typical question, it did just a terrible job. So what I did was I saved all the answers and the questions. And what I plan to do is, again, I'll do it again in 6 months and see how the AI has progressed and see whether it's giving me different feedback because, yeah, we can always learn. Of course, it can write poems in the style of Sue Ellson already because there's enough data for it to work from for that. But they don't have the level of human understanding that I have. They rhyme and they've got the similar language and all that, but they all sound a bit glib. They don't dig deep, which is what I try and do with my poetry. So, yeah, all this tech is available to us. So, I basically use tech as an assessment tool rather than a generation tool. And so I use it to reflect in a different way on what I've produced. Yeah. Oh, that's great, Claire. Thank you. It's wonderful. Thank you, Susan Novice. All your content was extremely helpful to me, giving me some confidence to take the plunge. Yes, yes, it's all stuff based on what you already know. That's what I'm attaching it to. Like, you wouldn't have a successful medical practice if you don't look after your customers and you keep in touch and you do these things and you make sure that you're attracting the right people or whatever. Exactly the same principles. So you're just changing the avatar, the audience type, but the process will apply no matter what product or service you're applying. Yeah. All right, we're now at an hour and 5 minutes. I guess we need to wrap up. If you've got any quick questions you want to ask, feel free to shoot them through just sueelson@sueelson.com. If you like professional services, you can book an appointment for that. But otherwise, I hope you have an amazing day and you apply at least 3 things, ideally within 3 hours, but if not within 3 days, because if you don't do it in that time frame, most people won't do anything, statistically speaking. So best if you can pick 3 things to do in 3 hours. And for anybody who's shown up live via the Zoom link, I will also be sending you some files that I've got on my website that are free and available to everyone, but you don't have to register for them. So I'll pop those in the email as well for you. So thank you, everyone, and see you all online. Bye for now.